Well, good morning, all of you, and welcome to my kitchen garden in Sweden. It is like 5:30 in the morning. It is Saturday, no, it's Sunday, and I am nearly awake, but I am standing. And this might sound very silly to some of you, and some of you will understand me totally. I am the mother of four wonderful and beautiful and absolutely adorable children. And I have had like 10 years of being constantly pregnant and breastfeeding and taking care of small babies, both day and night, and without, well, that much rest. And all the time I am like longing to be out in my garden. I like those small moments of, peace and quiet. And I have come to do this since a few years back, and I love it. So as soon as I can, I go up really early in the morning, and I have prepared my like working clothes. This is how I look today. So I prepare the clothes the night before, and I go up like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I run out in my garden, and I will have then a few hours on my own in the garden, and it's lovely. I don't know if you hear the birds. They are singing to me, and the trees are getting green now. It's May in Sweden, south of Sweden, and I can see I don't know what you call it, the thing just above the ground, the smoky thing in the morning. And there's absolutely no wind. And sometimes when you get out, you can smell the smell of nature so clear that it's almost as if you can taste it as well. It's like you only have to open your mouth and it's there for you. So I have just gone out, and hopefully the connection will be with us and follow us around, and I will take you with me on my garden tour that will start my day. And it's not silly. I know you do the same, most of you, with gardens, that you go garden walk whenever you can. And I did my last one at like 11 o'clock, I think, last evening. So it's not as if anything really would have happened during those hours, but it fills me with energy, just to see the garden. And I am working quite a lot with my garden, and depending on how much time I have to just be in the garden, not doing anything, and to do in the garden. There's plenty of things to do all the time. Now, for example, I need to weed a lot. I have behind the wall, I have several garden beds, raised beds, and they are dug very deep. And I have here 2 rows of spinach. And in here somewhere I can spot the I don't know if you call it the portulak. It's very tiny yellow leaves in here. But this is all sort of very common weed. It is eatable, but actually my mother, when I was a child, she grew plenty of vegetables, and she also made food from weed. And well, I am quite tired of it, so if I can, I will let my children eat spinach. And I don't get stressed when a garden bed looks like this, because I know it's very easy to clear it up. All I need is a few minutes. And the problem is really to get a few minutes. Right? Over here I have something amazing in this box. This is how the box looks, and a few meters away you see it's all, you know, soil. Nothing really grows here except some weeds. But here are a box with plenty of green leaves. There's rocket and lettuce with red leaves, and there's dill. And this one I don't know the English word for. It is actually a weed as well, but I grow it, well, basically like a spinach. And I think it's so beautiful with its red leaves. And as you can see, most of the greens this time of year, well, they are green. So I really like the variation with the red leaves. Spinach, more lettuce with some red color, and over here are some black kale, and I will have to thin that out and move some of the plants. They didn't germinate as well in this row. And this is, I don't know exactly if we have translated with English subtitles that video, but this is actually a sowing that I made in winter directly on top of snow. And as you can see, growing vegetables in like a cold climate, as I do, is very important for me to use the whole season. If I sow in wintertime, I can get plenty of food to eat really early in the season and also in wintertime. And I will get back to you about that. This is basically a bit difficult area. It is I would say it's the kitchen garden's best area because it's protected by this wall. Actually, I have a sort of a fence over here by the parking, but I had to take it down and will put up a new one. So that will shelter a bit from the wind. Unfortunately, we have plenty of different aggressive weeds coming in from this area, just across the fence. And as you can see, they all turn up in my bed. Oh, I see something fantastic that I have been looking for days and days. I don't know if you see it. Check this out. This is the asparagus. Hello, asparagus. And these tiny plants are asparagus that I sowed. It must have been, is it 3 years ago? So it's their second year in this place. I can spot some more plants. I didn't know they would turn up. I actually bought a kiwi plant, 2 kiwi plants, to put in this bed, just in case they didn't show up. And now they turn up. And I bought the kiwi plants yesterday. Well, I will have to make new plants. This is how my the midsection in the garden looks at the moment. Oh, it's so beautiful, isn't it? Look, the tiny cottage surrounded by vegetables in Sweden. I grow plenty of chive, as you can see, and it will start to flower soon. And in this row, I will find, let me see if you can see them as well. Ta-da! Asparagus. And we really eat asparagus this time of year. And this is also a result of me growing vegetables in a cold climate, because I really need to plant things that will give me food early in the season when we do not have like potatoes and the carrots are not yet ready. So I need to have other vegetables instead. And this is my leek shallot, planted in autumn, and this is the first time I tried to plant shallot sets in autumn. The variety is called longor, and I think they all of them are growing so nicely. The garlic. And as you can see, I have planted bushes, and this is husk-up berries in this row. And then I have like, I think it's like 15 blueberry plants in this row. All of this area is, I have planted asparagus in the outer, like the edges. It's really beautiful when they grow up. Oh, you see the light? And the sound. I hear pigeons. My chive is really something. It's so big and, do you say lush? It's like those miscanthus, the grasses. And as you can see, the sort of the stems to the plants, they are like small leeks. I showed them in my new Instagram account at Sara's Kitchen Garden earlier in the week. Otherwise, we have, there's plenty. Nothing really has come that far out here in the open field. But I have not yet learned the English name for this, but it's the long black roots. I think you say black root in some parts, but that's not the correct name. So this is a whole bed. It's 6 meters long, and it's filled with the black roots. And the black roots are really nice because I can harvest them in springtime when we have eaten all the potatoes. So this is an area for bees and peas. No, beans, bees. This is happy with berries, with a cherry bush, and well, some different kinds, and they will all grow up and be like a small hedge. There are, you know, in the garden, tiny little things that makes you happy. And there are different things each morning and each night. You see different things. I have planted here to surround this area 5 artichokes, and I think they might be pink. I'm not sure, but I will surround them also with summer flowers. This is the root vegetables. I grew winter carrots. Winter carrots are I can harvest them very late. We have in Sweden, we grow like summer carrots, and they will be ready to harvest about 3 months after I have made the sowings. Winter carrots are slowly, when they grow, and they can stand in the ground for very long without being destroyed. Summer carrots I have to harvest really quickly because otherwise they will be, well, they will not be any good. I have a whole bed here with celeriac. I love celeriac. As you can see, I don't have, there's no mulch on this area yet, and that is because I think it works best to mulch the beds after I made the sowings of the root vegetables, and after they have come up like 8 centimeters. Then I have prepared with grass clippings, and that I keep, and I surround all the vegetables with grass clippings. And by then I can also plant out my summer flowers, because I want to fill the beds with summer flowers as well. All right, today will be quite an unusual day in my family, because we will all spend a day together in the garden. I am the one being out. And as you can see, the grass needs to be taken care of. That is what we're going to do today. My son, Otto, he is 9 years and he has a small machine. He helps me. Um, and this is a bed where I have planted out already. This is such a nice project. We call this bed the banana. And it is all made directly on the lawn, covered with newspapers, and then chicken manure and leaves and grass clippings. And now it all turned to beautiful soil. And in here I have planted more artichokes and lots of summer flowers. So this will be an artichoke bed. I think I have planted 20 artichokes. I'm excited to see how it will work out. Those of you following my project 20 square feet garden might want to see how it works out. This is how it looks at the moment. And it is a bit too warm for spinach, unfortunately. I will give it another week and I will germinate. I will fertilize to see if anything happens. We have had some pests on the pak choi, unfortunately. Lettuce, dill, and more spinach. Some of it didn't germinate at all. That's just a shame, but that's just how it is. The fruit trees are flowering, and hopefully we will get some fruit as well. Last year was just a good year for plum and nothing else. So this year I really hope for apples, and some cherries would be nice. And yet I have not had any pears, but I would like to have that. Today I will do a thing that I have never done before. I had a garden class yesterday in south of Sweden, and a woman showed me a picture of her garden where she had made sort of a small fence around her garden beds, and what she had used was those high grass, the miscanthus, and I have tried to find a reason to grow like miscanthus in my own garden, but I couldn't put up with any reason for a few years. But then when I saw the picture, I had an idea. Yes, I will grow the miscanthus so I can sort of harvest the grass and use it as a material to build my garden. So I actually bought 3 plants yesterday, and I am now thinking about putting them here aside the Polytunnel. I'm not yet sure about the plans, but well, we're going to have a look in my little Polytunnel, in the small one. It is 18 square meters. I harvested all the spinach in this middle bed a few years ago, and this is what I am going to do now today, this morning. I am going to start planting out tomatoes in between the spinach. What I do is I put out the plants in their pots directly on the ground, so I can see how I space them. And then I simply, if I'm going to have a tomato here, I simply remove some of the spinach. I am not sure if I can leave the spinach any longer, because it is starting to bloom, and the spinach is not that tasty when it blooms. Or flowers, you say flower. And this is how a winter sowing of spinach looks in Sweden. It's very green and very nice, and I am going to harvest this today, because now the stems are beginning to get a bit thick, and if they are too thick, they lose its, the freshness. It will be too hard to chew, really. But this one is perfect. And what I do is I take a scissors pair of scissors and I simply cut it back. So it all disappears. And this year I will try to make an experiment. I have only grown like leafy greens and peas in this polytunnel because it's very shady. But this year I will try to grow tomatoes because I have heard from some of my friends that it might work with tomatoes in this place in the garden. So I will try to do that. The only problem is that I made a winter sowing of tomatoes to give it a try and to see if I could find use in that way of sowing, but it didn't work at all. And I have decided never to do a winter sowing of tomatoes again, well, the following years, because it is not worth taking the risk of losing, the sowing, because this time of the year it's too late to make a new sowing. So what I had to do is I have collected plants from friends and followers, actually, sort of trading with husk up berries and things to get some plants. And I have also taken cuttings from tomatoes. I must say, I just love to stand here in my polytunnel and watch the sowings. Look, these plants are all from winter sowings. Cabbage, cabbage, cabbage. I love cabbage. A lot of different type of cabbages and stuff like that, summer flowers. And I have really succeeded with the leek sowing and onion this year. And I also have, this is also what I am going to do this morning. I am going to lift those trays and put them outdoors, except the beans, because they will have to stay for another couple of weeks. And this is as a protection for the butterflies. They look so nice, all the brassicas. Over here, more sowings. And yeah. Oh, this is not good. This is what I forgot to check for while showing you. Slugs. I have a mission, and my mission is to kill all the slugs that I can find. And usually I have a pair of scissors, but they weren't so many this morning. So we have had this very cold winter in Sweden. Oh, the light. Look. Sometimes it just gets to me. Oh, this is crazy. I actually live here and I can step out any time of the day and night if I want to. And I have this garden, and it's the children have their toys and I have my garden. This is my playground, and I feel so much alive in here. It's lovely. Look how happy one can be with the garden. As I said, I have been away for a few days holding classes. Oh, I have totally forgotten to welcome all of you to my new English website, because I was so into meeting the morning in my garden. But of course I should really say welcome to my new English web page, where you can find my garden blog translated to English, and it's sarabäckmo.com if you haven't visited already. How could I forget? Well, I know how one can forget, because it's so many things to check and to talk about. This is our messy backyard. But I am now on my way to my messy polytunnel. And the children have been playing here for a few days while I have been away. And my 2-year-old, this is his things. He moved water from one bucket to another yesterday, and he was so happy until like 9 o'clock in the evening. So actually it was amazing. The other day while I was going to go out and get some vegetables for our sandwiches one morning. Oh, more slugs. I don't know if you can see it on over here. I should tell you about the slugs. I have a plan, and that is I have to kill everyone that I see slugs, right? And if I do that, I manage to keep them like in control. And this year there are not so many as the year before, and I think that is because we had such a cold winter and long winter. But this one will have to go. I'm sorry. Usually I have those I don't know what the English name for it, but it is a sort of a pellet. It looks like this, and I buy them in 5 kilos. Order it on internet, and I try to just put some of it among the vegetables, and I do this all the time, all season, and it really reduces the slugs. Well, I should tell you, I was sitting over here getting some spinach or whatever to the sandwiches, and all of a sudden I watched an enormous mushroom. And this is not an area where I can grow like mushrooms outdoor. It's not happening. But in this bed, before I made the sowing of spinach, I made the sowing of spinach in in January, and just a few weeks before, I spread out that I had kept indoors. I grow mushrooms in a small box that I ordered on internet, and I put the mushroom compost on the surface, and then it turned up mushrooms, and I was so happy. Unfortunately, the spinach is flowering, and this happened just when I was away now. And the reason why I don't want it to flower is that it is very difficult to harvest and take care of the harvest when they are flowering, because then I need to pull up each and every one the spinach, and I have to remove the single leaves because I don't want this part in the food. So, well, it is quite a big job actually. Not so happy about that. I would be happier if there were some mushrooms. Everything looks so nice in here. It's very green, and I would say all of this would be very difficult to have in this stage if I didn't sow my vegetables in wintertime. Chinese cabbage. More Chinese cabbage. This is scarvita. It is like a pink Chinese cabbage, and chard over here. The chard is overwintered, so I have dug up plants from my outdoor garden and put it here, and I have already harvested several kilos. My basil looks great. I have basil on or in a tray that I can water from underneath, so well, it's not going to dry. This is what we are going to do today. I know some of you have maybe seen videos about the cabbage, and this one we are going to harvest today, some of it, because it is starting to flower as well, and you can see that because the head is really pointed. This too. So we are going to make a stewed Savoy cabbage, and it is so tasty. I love it. And every day when I am out now in the garden with my children, they come to me and they say, "Can we eat cabbage? Can you point one plant that we can eat from?" So they want to eat fresh cabbage, and I have given them this plant, and they have already finished a few leaves. "This is the best," they say. "This is the best." Hopefully I will be able to harvest this before it flowers. I am not sure if I can make it. These are the only cabbage plants, brassica plants, that I grow indoors in winter time. It is like 8 plants, and I sow them in January or early in February, and then I plant them out in March, and I harvest in May. So that is the brassica plan for an early harvest. Well, there's just so many things one can do. So today, now when I have finished my morning garden tour, I will start to plant out tomatoes, and I will carry some of them to the other polytunnel. But I was thinking about filling this area up behind me, and I am going to try this year to mulch the bed in this polytunnel. I have not tried it in this polytunnel before because we have plenty of slugs in here, but I will try to combine it with the pellets, pheromone, and nematodes. Do you say nematodes? To see if it can work. It's worth a try, I guess, because it gets quite dry in here, even though I have this water system, and I really don't want to water more than necessary. So yeah, that is what I'm going to do now. Maybe I should say something about what I really enjoy now. I have this bucket. This is where I pee. It's my water can and my potty. So it's filled with water all the time, so it will be stable if the children want to use it. And this is how I fertilize this whole area, with the bokashi compost, with my pea, and with grass cuttings that I dig down. So I sit here on my potty and I check this out, and I am so happy about, the height of the small trees. I have planted trees in all this area. So there's apricots, and there's nectarines, there's kiwi, and I actually bought a dwarf apricot tree yesterday. It couldn't leave me. So I had to buy this armenica. Yeah. And over here there are wines, and this is amazing. This is a plant with white peaches, and I have pollinated it quite good, as you can see, and there are plenty. I will have to thin them out in a while, but this one is a dwarfy peach tree as well. Yeah, so I sit here, and I also have the blueberries. I have blueberries that will be about 3.5 meters high, and that is basically the height of the roof. So I sit here on my potty, doing my morning things, and dreaming about melons and blueberry skies, and that makes me very happy. So I am enjoying my stay here in the polytunnel, but you cannot join me while doing this. So thank you for this morning and this morning tour, starting the day with me. I'm now going to put on my gloves and digging and doing plenty of things before the children. And my husband will be awake and we will have a lovely breakfast. Don't forget to subscribe my channel and please visit my sarabäckmo.com to see my garden blog posts at my new English website. Hopefully you will like it and I'll see you in a while. Have a beautiful day whenever you wake up. I know it is nighttime for some of you. In Sweden it is now a beautiful morning in May. Bye bye.